What's up guys, welcome to Biohacking Explained. My name is Daniel and I am a biohacker that changed his life. I went from 245 pounds to 186 currently, 8% body fat. I've never felt my healthiest before, and today we're going to talk about blood work, biomarkers, and the endocrine disrupting times. In today's world, our bodies are in constant assault from pesticides, heavy metals, and microplastics. And what can we do about this? The best thing that we could do is look at our blood panel and see where our base levels are so that we can optimize for health and see how we start feeling. This should include getting tested in our testosterone, estrogen, thyroid levels, growth hormones, and other things that I'm going to talk about just now. And this isn't a problem just for people with bad genetics, guys. It's for everybody around you because the environment has changed so much. It has actually been shown that testosterone levels for men today are lower than people in the 50s. So if you're not optimizing your hormone levels today, guys, that means that you're living below your biological potential. And the first step for you to reach that biological potential is to get your blood work done. All right, guys, so let's get to it. So the first thing that I would look for is the IGF-1 levels. HGH optimization is crucial here. Why does IGF-1 matter so much? So IGF-1 is the primary marker for growth hormone levels in your body. The truth with IGF-1 is that most men are walking around with 40 to 50% lower levels than they should be. And you might be asking yourselves, why does the modern man have such low levels of IGF-1? And the truth is that VPAs, microplastics, and glyphosate are destroying your endocrine system. So let's talk numbers, guys. What is the optimal range for the modern man? So the optimal range for the modern man would be 275 to 350 nanograms per milliliter. That means that if your levels are below 200, you're a fraction of your optimized levels. You also might be asking yourselves, when is the best time for you to test yourselves? So the best time to test yourself is before starting any peptide cycle, then 4 to 6 weeks after, so that's within your cycle. And then once you're done with your cycle, that's a great time to test as well. Always do it fasted in the morning, guys. Peptides like CJC1295, ipamorelin, and tesamorelin can help you optimize your range so that you feel youthful again. But it is absolutely crucial, guys, to be testing your ranges continuously. So if you want to make sure that you're using your peptides safely, I would be looking deeply into HbA1c and fasting glucose. So why does fasting glucose and HbA1c matter so much when you're using HGH secretagogues? The main reason is that your blood sugars might temporarily come up, so you need to be monitoring this so you could fix it quickly. When your blood sugar levels go up, they're usually manageable and temporary, but it is very important that you're keeping track of it so you can change your diet or your training or even the dosages. Today, it is the norm for people to have insulin resistance due to artificial sweeteners and processed foods. But remember, we're not trying to be the norm. We're trying to optimize our life so that we live better than the norm. So our optimized levels for our fasting glucose should be between 75 to 85 milligrams per deciliter. If it's anything higher than that, you should start looking at your testing very thoroughly and changing your lifestyle. For HbA1c, anything below 5.2%, you're looking at elite levels. If you're anything above 5.4%, you should seriously look in the mirror and see what changes you need to do because you have a lot of inflammation in your body. So when should you start testing for fasting glucose and HbA1c? So the best time for you to start would be in baseline, meaning right before a peptide protocol or lifestyle changes. Also 6 weeks within, and then at the end of the peptide protocol. Those are the best times. Another really important thing to test for would be the liver enzymes ALT and AST. These are toxic load indicators. Your liver is ground zero for detoxifying from xenoestrogens and environmental pollutants. If your liver is sluggish, you're not clearing excess estrogens and metabolizing hormones properly. And this means that your peptides won't hit like they should and you won't be as optimized. The optimized ranges for ALT and AST are between 15 to 35 units per liter. Anything above that, that means that you have a lot of toxicity in your body, you're overtraining, or your lifestyle needs to change. ALT and AST is just like any other biomarker. I would start it right before your peptide cycle, in the middle of your peptide cycle, and right at the end. Another key panel that I would be looking at would be our lipid panel. Lipid panel is going to help you look at mitochondrial health and inflammation. Healthy lipid markers is critical for hormone production and energy. If you have healthy lipid markers, this means that you have lower inflammation and your mitochondrial health is at a good range. Today's LDL levels are inflated by systemic inflammation from processed foods, artificial sweeteners, and microplastics. So for HDL, you should be targeting 55 milligrams per deciliter or lower. and for LDL is 90 milligrams per deciliter or higher. The triglycerides should be 80 milligrams per deciliter or higher as well. With lipid markers, you should be doing your testing at baseline, meaning before any peptide protocol, and then 8 to 12 weeks after, because this is a lagging indicator. It takes a while for your lifestyle to settle and accommodate all the numbers in the sheet. For lipid markers, I would do testing at baseline, meaning before any peptide protocol or lifestyle intervention, and 8 to 12 weeks after that lifestyle intervention. Another crucial biomarker that you should be testing is CRP, C-reactive protein. This is the fire alarm to your body. Why this matters so much? Chronic low-level inflammation is the killer for testosterone, GH, and thyroid health. So high sensitivity C-reactive proteins should be at 0.7 milligrams per liter or higher. That's optimized. If you have a high sensitivity CRP of between 1 to 3 milligrams per liter, you have a lot of inflammation in your body and you should look at that immediately. This systemic inflammation could come from poor gut health, air pollution, or overtraining, so check that out. This biomarker is critical when you're doing recovery protocols, for example, TB500 with BPC 157, the Wolverine stack. This would be great to start it out before the protocol, 6 to 12 weeks after, and at the end of the protocol. So I have left the best for last. This is the male optimization panel right here. In this panel, I would include free testosterone, prolactin, and estradiol. And why does this matter so much, guys? Because testosterone has been gradually dropping 1% a year since 1980. And this comes from environmental changes like microplastics, plastic bottles, and BPAs in the environment. So if you go to the doctor's office, the doctor will tell you that the normal range is between 200 to 1,000 nanograms per deciliter. But remember, guys, we're trying to optimize so that we have our ranges and we're not leaving anything in the table. So guys, if you ask me, I do not want to aim for normality. I don't want to have normal ranges, because normal ranges means having diabetes, having systemic inflammation, and having low testosterone. So in my opinion, optimal ranges for testosterone would be between 850 to 1250 nanograms per deciliter. For free test, I would do 25 to 35 nanograms per deciliter. For estradiol, I would be looking into the ranges between 20 to 35 picograms per milliliter. This would be shown as E2 in the panel. And prolactin would be 4 to 12 nanograms per milliliter. Always do the testing before the peptide protocol, 4 to 8 weeks, and then at the end of the peptide protocol, always fasted in the morning, guys. Very, very crucial to do it like that. I test myself every 2 to 3 months, guys, and this is because my peptide goals change throughout the year. So sometimes I'm doing a cutting phase, so I'm using different peptides for that. I'm doing muscle building, or I'm doing it just for health and recovery. So it's very important that you start looking at different biomarkers for the specific peptides that you're using at the moment. So guys, don't forget, comment below if you want my free longevity and Looksmaxxing peptide cheat sheet. And if you found this information helpful, comment, like, and subscribe below. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.